to show off the road. This is a call that you're not going to want to miss. But what's going on, everybody? James Zheng here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this special call. And the reason why you're here today is whether you're live or on replay, somebody told you that you needed to hear an incredible story. You needed to hear about something that could potentially transform your life. And I don't know if you would feel this way or not, but especially in light of the last couple of years, who here would agree that in the world, there's kind of a lot of uncertainty these days? All right, give me a wave or put a me in the comments below. We went through 2020. That was an interesting time, a worldwide thing. After that, a lot of things are shifting economically, personally, in the world. It's almost like, wow, how is there so much change that's going on? And when it comes to what we can control, what we want to make sure is that what can we do to make sure that you can protect you and your family and their future? Well, tonight, I think it's super important. If you're looking for some type of opportunity, it's important that you find some place and specifically someone that you can trust. And today we have the opportunity to have an incredibly special human being with each and every single one of us, Mr. Darren Zobrist. Darren, I'm going to have you back up in just a little bit, but Darren, feel free to unmute yourself real quick and say hi real
Hey,
quick. And how you
everybody.
feeling, Darren?
Thanks for having me
Again,
on tonight.
thanks for being on. What's on your heart right now? How are you feeling?
I'm excited looking at, we have 84 people hopping on this call. This is amazing. Super excited.
Let's go. We're excited to have you. And Darren, thank you for the honor. We're going to dive all into your story in just a little bit. But just to give a little bit of pretext and context, I know we have all different types of people that are on this call. Some of you, you're brand new. Your friend was like, get on this call. You're like, why am I here? Some of you maybe you've heard about these hashtag skinny drops. If you've used them, by the way, put them in the comments below what your experiences have been. And some of you, you're seasoned entrepreneurs. Some of you, you've been in this industry for decades. You've done amazing things. I know we have 7, even 8-figure earners that are going to be watching this as well too. But let me preface how we got introduced to Darren with just a little story. So I've been involved in this incredible profession for the last 15 years. It absolutely changed my life. I was a shy, broke college student thinking I was going to be a medical doctor. And then I found out that you could find a way to build a future for yourself. You could find a way to build a business. I got involved in network marketing and fumbled my way forward, figured out the skills, and eventually part-time, I made enough where I could go full-time. And after that, I got introduced to these body balancing drops. If you haven't heard about them, they've transformed a lot of people's lives. We were one of the original partners to share them. These are drops put on your tongue. They help you to balance your hormones, support the thyroid, boost the metabolism. I lost 25 pounds in 40 days, transformed my life. We ended up transferring many other people's lives on these products as well too. Dr. Pia, she's on here right now as well too, lost 35 pounds, for example. You see someone like Fina Toscano completely transforming her life. Friends like Lenny as well. So inside and out. So we had an amazing thing going on with a business that you partner with a one-time $30 membership, and you can share these amazing products around the world and build sales teams to do that with a compensation plan that is #1 in the world. There's a 50-50 split, and we were able to build a rather successful business. It afforded us our family. And we were at the place when we're about to find our dream, which is buying our dream home. I preface today's call with this, which is, what do you want? I asked the question, from an opportunity, how much extra money a month do you have to earn for that to be transformative in your life? And I saw anywhere between $1,000 a month to $5,000 a month to even $100,000 a month. What matters when you're looking at a business is, what do you want? And we were getting what we wanted. And all of a sudden, the worst thing that you could possibly think could happen happened, which is our opportunity, our company, the foundations fell apart. The company ran into some financial trouble. The company went bankrupt. And all of a sudden, our dreams of starting our family, of buying our home, all of that went right away. But God had a miracle in store. And it wasn't shortly, it was shortly thereafter that I went out to Utah. And I remember I met this gentleman for the first time. I didn't know who he was. I was honestly a little skeptical because I didn't know this guy. But I remember meeting him in the hallway, and it was like he was just an angel. He was so nice. He was like so nice, you can't not like him. Do you guys know those people? You're like, you just can't find a bad bone in his body. And little did I know that not only was this gentleman nice, but he is so smart with business. He is one of the most generous people that I've ever met. And he truly cares about people. And he found himself in a position to recreate something with an old soul, with a new face that is now breaking company records and sales records all around the world called PartnerCo. So what I want us to ask the question of today is this. If you're looking for an opportunity, maybe you're in a place like where we were at. We weren't sure. We weren't certain. We were like, man, what's going to happen? I want you to have an opportunity to meet and hear Darren Zobrist and who he is, because he's at the head of everything and where we're going. But Darren, thank you. It's an honor to have you on here today.
Thank you. I'm super struck by two things. First of all, I'm looking at these comments and in the chat here, and I'm seeing how healthy this group is getting. And I'm so inspired. I love to see that. I love the comments and the success that you are all experiencing. I love that. I saw people kind of decreasing or getting off of their medication. Some people were diabetic or pre-diabetic in the comments that they're not anymore, having lost weight, got their hormones in balance. And I love seeing that. It is amazing. I really, truly inspires me, all of you getting healthy. Second thing
It's
is, I remember meeting James in that hallway. I was totally new to network marketing. I was meeting our first brand partners, first distributors at that time. And James was actually one of the first ones I met. And I was just chatting with him. And he's like, do you mind if I take a picture with you? I'm like, okay, sure. Why not? So I think that was, if you go back and pull up your phone, James, that'll be the first picture probably of Darren with any of our brand partners.
oh my gosh. I will memorialize that. It's been such an interesting journey, Darren. And what I appreciate, it's why a partner co a year and a half later, literally is just people are flocking here right now because they see the stability, the security that you've brought. And of course, the team has brought as well too. But there's a method to the madness. So I'd love to just ask for those that don't know you, because you were never involved in network marketing, and now you own and you're the CEO of a network marketing company. So what was your background prior to network marketing?
Okay. I mean, you know a little bit about my story. We've talked about it, but you tell me where do you want me to start? And I'll start there.
Absolutely. Um,
You want me to talk
what was
about,
your original intention? Yeah, what was your original intention when it came? You had a long-standing, I mean, you were well educated, you had an incredible corporate career, and then you made a shift. So I guess run us through some of those chapters real quick,
got
if
it.
you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. So I was graduating from university. It really had become my goal to eventually end up working on Wall Street. And so I was applying to Masters of Business programs, and I thankfully was accepted into what was my number one school, Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania. It's kind of the number one business school if you want to go work on Wall Street. And I worked so hard, did really well in my classes, and I got my number one internship, which eventually led to a job after graduate school, which was at Goldman Sachs, top investment bank in the country on Wall Street. And when I graduated, I went to work for them full time, and I was what I thought living my dream, right? This is what I'd been looking forward to. It's what I've been working toward, and I'd really given it my all. When I first started, I loved working there. Such smart people and really interesting work. And, I started in New York, ended up transferring back out to LA, where I'm from. And the strangest thing happened as the years went by. I started to do really well in my career. And as I'm making more and more money, I started to kind of become less and less satisfied with my job, with the work I was doing. And I started to question what what good am I doing here? I mean, this is an amazing job, amazing firm. This was my dream. It doesn't feel like my dream job anymore.
Mm.
And I started to really think about if I was providing value to this world, if I was really helping people. I started to feel like, or question if financial success was enough for me, if that alone was enough. And I was going through that questioning and that thinking. And it was during that time when I went to take a break from it all and really think about my life and what I was doing. I took a trip from LA to Mexico to go fishing. You want me to get into talk about fishing, James?
Absolutely. So, guys, first of all, here, if you're not familiar, so I went to Berkeley, and Berkeley had the second top business school in the world. Wharton
Yeah.
is number
Here's
one.
what's funny. I was
So
not accepted at Berkeley. I applied and was not accepted. I was accepted at Wharton, but not Berkeley, the Haas School.
That's so interesting. So, guys,
So
like, if you're not
funny.
familiar with that world, like these are literally this is the dream for like the
Yeah,
corporate dream. So
it is.
you felt like that was not purposeful, and then you went fishing, and then what happened?
Yeah. So I'm in this little town in Mexico, a little fishing village where we're going, and where you got off of the boat, there was a small fish market where the local fishermen were selling their fish. And they were selling in this market the most beautiful yellowfin tuna you've ever seen. Yellowfin tuna is the type of tuna that we use in the United States for sushi. And they were selling that sushi looking tuna for about 50 cents a pound. And I'm sitting there scratching my head because I'm thinking, in LA, I pay like 20 bucks a pound. What is going on here? So I start talking to the fishermen a little bit and getting to know them. And turns out, first of all, they don't really know that that fish is used for sushi. Second of all, they have no way to even access the global market to be able to sell their fish. They're in this little fishing village in Mexico on the coast. No way to access it. So as I'm talking to these fishermen, kind of they're talking about their lives, talking about their family. I'm hearing about what it's like to live in this little fishing village and where they have to go fishing and how this all works. I start to think that maybe this is it. Maybe this is something that I should look into, that I should be doing. Maybe I can help these fishermen access the market for sushi grade tuna. So when I return back to Goldman, I started thinking about this and I recruited a friend of mine to help out in this. And he went down to Mexico and started researching and talking to more fishermen. And we found a fish processing plant that the government had built that was shut down that we were able to rent. We brought in Japanese technicians to teach the fishermen how to properly kill and bleed the fish so that it could be used for sushi. And then we started trying to really recruit the fishermen to fish for us. In this little town in Mexico, they don't trust foreigners at
Mm.
all. And they didn't trust us. We got one single solitary fisherman. This guy he was around 20 years old. He had a very young wife. She was like 18, 19 years old, and they had a small child. They lived in a very humble cinder block house with a dirt floor and kind of a tin roof. And I think this guy just thought, what have I got to lose? Like, it can't get any worse than this. The fishermen in this town, like fishermen all over the world in developing countries, they were very, very poor, very humble
Mm.
circumstances that they lived in. So he threw his hat in with us and thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And he started fishing for us. And we'd bring in his fish, we'd process it, we'd put it on the tourist airplane back to LA. So shipping into LA every day. And we were able to pay him. He was selling it for about 50 cents a pound before. We were able to pay him about $2.50. So about 5 times what he'd been selling it for before.
Wow.
And at the end of that first month, this very humble fisherman was able to go out and buy a pickup truck. Now, I know
Wow.
most of you on this call, that doesn't seem like a lot, but in this little fishing village in Mexico, that was huge. That was success. He had made it. And all of his friends who were fishermen were asking him questions. What's going on? What are you doing here? Can we do it too? And so he introduced us to some of his friends, and they introduced us to their friends and their friends. And within about 3 months, we had pretty much the whole fishing fleet in the area, about 1,000 fishermen fishing for us. And every single one of those fishermen had a dramatic change in their life, just like that first fisherman. They were making more money. They were able to have better housing. They were looking at better schools for their children. They were planning, making plans for the future, not just living day by day. And I remember one time being down there on a weekend while I was still at Goldman, talking to some of the fishermen and just being overwhelmed by the work that we were doing and by the changes in their lives, and that I was able to be part of that. And so, of course, I decided I wanted to take this to the world. And I left Goldman and started focusing full time on the seafood company. We expanded from Mexico, we went to Brazil, we were in Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Cook Islands, Marshall Islands, uh, Costa Rica, Ecuador. We expanded in 13 different countries all over the world, all places where there were fishermen, humble circumstances with little access to the international markets where we could bring them that access and help them improve their lives. And I loved every minute of that work. Up till that point, it was the greatest thing that I had ever done in my life. And every single day, what drove me was the work that we were doing with those fishermen. Yes, it was a profitable company. Yes, it was a great success. Financial success, too, was amazing. But what drove me was helping all those fishermen change their lives. I mean, I'm like all of you. That's why all of you are here, right? We're the same that way. We like to help people. We like to help them improve their health. We like to help them improve their lives, their finances. That's what came to drive me. And it changed the way I think about business. It changed the way I think about the goals for my life and what I want to accomplish in my life. So I after many years of running that, we were approached by Bumblebee, the canned tuna company. Do any of you know Bumblebee canned tuna? Yeah. Okay. So they wanted to get into sushi quality tuna, and they acquired my company. And of course, as part of the deal, they had contractually agreed to continue all of the humanitarian work that we were doing, working with all the fishermen. We invested in lots of the communities, building schools and clean water, clean water. Well, we did wells and we do water treatment and basically trying to help improve the lives of the fishermen, not just by buying their fish, but also reinvesting in the communities. They agreed to continue with all of that. And I stayed on with them for about 3 years, at which point I basically retired, basically. So I was retired for a few years. um, before this opportunity came along. So
That's
that
the
takes us up
dream.
up to this opportunity.
That's the dream. And Darren, so it's amazing because I'm tearing up. It's obvious that, and if you guys, this is your first time meeting Darren, this is exactly who he is, inside and out all the time. And I see that you still get emotional thinking about that fisherman's life that changed. Like, that's really at your heart. And that's what drives you in all your philosophies in business. But what I also love, like literally, it takes what notes I got. Number one, it just takes one person. Any goal and dream you have, it's going to seem crazy at first, but you got to keep on going until you find that one, and then you serve them, and that story expands and it shares and expands, right? So that's literally how network marketing works. But at the
Hey
same
James,
time, what I
let me
also,
just say
yeah,
this. I have to tell you, when we
yeah,
could only recruit that one fisherman, I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, oh my gosh, we are going to lose everything that we've put into this so far because how is this going to work with just one fisherman? And you don't, sometimes you don't know how it's going to work out. You really don't know. And you just have to move forward, knowing that you've given it your best shot and you're going to keep giving it your best shot. And you have to have faith that in the end, it's going to work.
so key. Man, and I've seen that work ethic in you. Even with PartnerCo now, you've traveled the world in the last year and a half, I think like 4 times. Is that right?
Yes, I think a little bit more than that after this
More
summer,
than
but yes.
that. So it does take work ethic and everything. But what I also appreciate about you, Darren, is it's okay to profit. I think we're in a world now, there's some misconceptions about making money. It's like, nah, I just have to do good works and I can't get paid. But it's important to have healthy profit. And a profit is a reward for doing good service. And then you can use that to do other amazing things, right? So what I also appreciate about you, Darren, is you have the money side, but you also have the heart side. Hey, who here wants to both make more income and more impact? Give me a wave or put a me in the comments. Like there's nothing wrong about that, right? Like, and it funds and it fuels and it does more as well too. So I appreciate that about you. So you're retired. I've been to your home. Beautiful. I'd be retired for the rest of my life. You have an amazing family, amazing kids. Um, and one day your best friend calls you up about something. And what ended up happening there? How did this all happen?
So, yeah, just a little bit back up about how John and I met. When I retired, we were looking at, I mean, we had a slight bit of a midlife crisis, slightly, and we were looking at moving someplace different, someplace exotic. My wife earlier in her life had been a missionary in Argentina, and I wanted to learn Spanish. So we were looking at Spanish speaking places to go live. And we went to go look at Puerto Rico as an option because it's US territory, no visa, no nothing, super easy to visit, super easy to move there. And we are down there checking it out. We go to church on Sunday, and the very first person I meet is John Wadsworth. And he's my partner now in this business. But he says, hey, look, you're looking at Puerto Rico. Come over to lunch after church. I'll show you around the neighborhood. And we end up buying a house in the same neighborhood. We end up becoming best friends. Our families are close. We go on vacations together. He and I do a lot of service work through our church and in the community together. I mean, we spent hours and hours and days driving around, doing service work and getting to know each other, talking about business, talking about our futures. And yeah, he was my best friend. And a couple of years ago, I mean, you all lived through COVID, right? A
Mhm.
lot of companies experienced severe supply chain issues. Lots of things were happening in COVID. And like James said, some of these businesses that we end up acquiring went through some very serious difficulty. John calls me one night and he says, so he was the largest distributor for Tahitian noni juice, one of our brands. If you don't know, if you don't know the product, wonderful product. It's an antioxidants, got a lot of other health benefits. And so he had been with them for 25 years. And he calls me late one Sunday night and he says, you know, the company's having some difficulties. They need an injection of capital to be able to continue growing and recruiting and all the things that they do. And I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm worried about what's going to happen if this is going to work out. I'm worried about my team, all the people who are relying on this company. And he'd been in this 25 years. He got a little bit emotional. And it's hard for me to see a friend of mine suffering, worried about their life. And I just said, hey, John, it's no problem. Let's just buy the company. We'll take care of it.
Like
We'll just
any
buy
good
the
friend.
company. And he said, wait, what? And I said, yeah, we'll just buy the company. I know how to buy companies. I've done it a bunch before. Like, let's just do this. And, but that was Sunday night. We call it the 5-day miracle. By Friday, it was like a mad rush to do some due diligence, understand all of the different brands that we could acquire, all of the different subsidiaries that were out there. And we put in an offer on Friday to buy the company, and it was accepted. And so um, it took a bit of time to actually close. This was in the latter part of August. We closed October 17th. But in the meantime, John says, look, if you're going to fund the purchase of this company, you should at least know more what the company's about, right? So he says, we've got this event in Barcelona, Spain. Let's hop on an airplane and you can go see what the company's all about in Barcelona. Because at this point, I'd done some due diligence. I knew how amazing the brands were. I loved the products. I saw the great future from a business perspective. And I thought, hey, this should be a good investment. So we go to Barcelona, and the first person that was up on the stage that really got me thinking was a hairdresser, and she had been making like around $20,000 a year, which was very difficult. She was living in France, very expensive place to live. And the worst part, though, was she said I had to work in the afternoons and evenings and on the weekends when my kids were home from school. She said I never saw my kids. And somebody introduced her to some of our products that she started using, and she loved the product. She said I felt great. She lost a little bit of weight. And so she was talking to the friend that introduced her, and she said, hey, she actually said, can I sell these products too? So she started selling the products. And after about 3 months, she was making enough from that. She was making as much from that as she was making in her hairdressing business. And so she decided to leave that and work full time with our company. And she just said her life improved so dramatically at that point because she still worked hard. Maybe she even worked harder than when she was a hairdresser, but she had the flexibility to work when her kids were at school. She would work after they went to bed at night. She could spend valuable time with her family, with her husband. And then after a little while, she was making many times more than she had been making as a hairdresser. And as she's sitting there talking about how her life had changed, I start to think, this is about changing lives. This is about improving health. This is about helping people with their finances. This is familiar to me. So through the whole weekend, though, it was person after person, customers getting up there talking about how their health has changed, brand partners talking about how their finances have changed. And I am so inspired by everything that I hear that at the end of the weekend, I just lean over to John and I said, hey, what would you think if I weren't just a passive investor in this. What would you think if I came in and ran the company as the CEO? Like, I built huge companies before. I know how to run them. I see the company's got issues. I know how to fix those. And he said, deal, let's do it. Of course, I had one condition, and that was that you never made me get in front of a bunch of people and speak. And he said, okay, deal to that also. That didn't last very long, but now I'm a little more used to it. I would be terrified at the start if I were in front of 114 people speaking like are on this call right now. Yeah, I'm okay with it now.
You're so
And
good, dude.
that's how I became CEO of this company. It was really interesting though, because while we were in Spain, in Barcelona that weekend, a hurricane hit Puerto Rico and it shut down the airport. So I was trying to get home, but I couldn't get home. And since I was now going to be taking over the company as the CEO and we were trying to get this deal closed, I just diverted to Utah where the company had been based. And I didn't come home for 2 months straight. There wasn't even like an 8 hour block of time when I could be unreachable on an airplane to get back to Puerto Rico. In fact, my wife just walked in. I should have her tell you. Come here. She's shaking her head. She doesn't want to tell you. I'm going to let her tell you what she said after that weekend. And I gave her the news of my ideas for what my future was going to be with the company.
Let's go. Hey,
Here
Chrissy.
she is.
Hi.
Look, we got you only have 115 people on.
Oh my goodness.
No pressure.
I thought he'd
Well, here.
shoot. I thought he had lost his mind. I thought he had completely lost his mind. But yeah, when we started to get into it, I realized that he kind of been every experience that he had in his life had kind of led to this point. And we have just met the most incredible individuals, people. It's been so much fun for us, and we've just, I mean, it's been amazing, even though he has to travel a lot, which is hard, but we've had a
Thank you
great
for your
time.
So here's what she said, though. She said, what happened? You went to Barcelona. This was just a passive thing. You come home a CEO? You're retired. We're walking on the beach every day. We're going to lunch 3 or 4 days a week. Do you realize what this is going to do? That's what she said. She's leaving that part off.
Maybe I said that. Good to see you all.
Great to see you. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so special. She is amazing. Your wife.
And then, but during the 2 months, it took her a little while to get used to it. In fact, she may have been a little tiny bit upset with me. Tiny bit. In fact, I may have had to call her every day and tell her everything that was going on, and she would not respond. But I could sometimes feel some of her anger coming through the phone a little bit. But that's because we didn't even have time to really talk about it. It happened very quickly. And after I came home, we started talking about it. And then she started coming to some of the company events and meeting our brand partners. She absolutely has fallen in love with what we do. And she feels like it's our mission.
Mm.
She said what she just said to you guys. She after time, she said this to me. She said, look, I've really been thinking about it. And she believes that every one of these experiences that I've had in my life, one thing that we didn't talk about, just maybe a year and a half before I took over the company, I was very overweight. And my doctor sat me down and had a very, very serious discussion with me. And he said, if you continue like this, you're going to have a really bad quality of life. I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar. And he said, you're going to have to make some serious changes. And so I did. I started focusing on my health, started eating right, exercising, and I lost about 50 pounds that I have kept off. Now, I mean, I wish that I'd had the drops. I didn't have the drops. I just did it with eating and exercise and just toughing it out. But I also started to take supplements. At that time, I was taking about like this many supplements. Now, since I took over the company, I take like this many supplements. But but even that, even having gone through that dramatic change in my health, prepared me to run this company. It prepared me to know what many of you go through when you're trying to make changes in your life. It's not easy. And thankfully, we have really great products. We have really great teams. We have really great support to help you on your health journey. And, you know, I know that I needed help. I needed support as well. You're a lot more likely to be successful and have lasting change with good products, with good friends, a good team, a good support network. So, like she said, like Kristen said, so many of these, everything that had happened was leading to that point. And I saw the opportunity to help in the fishing company, in the seafood company. We helped tens of thousands of fishermen, these small artisanal fishermen all over the world. But I saw the opportunity here to help hundreds of thousands of people fundamentally change the direction of their lives. And I knew that I wanted to be part of that. And that's how I ended up here at PartnerCo.
And one thing I do know is since I've met you, you've become healthier and fitter. So it's important. I love following leadership that practice what they preach. So from top down. So congratulations on that. I want to ask, so you take over the company. And you're like, all right, let's go do this. It's been a year and a half. You have a certain philosophy of how you run companies because you didn't know the field. That's where John comes in, top money earner, master distributor, 25 years. He didn't know how to run a corporation. And then you guys combined together. So walk us through some of your philosophies. You take over the company, and what are some of the priorities for you that are important for building a long-term company?
So the first thing that was really important to me, and it was important to John too, as we talked about acquiring this company, I just said, John, I'm not coming out of retirement. I'm not giving up my daily walks on the beach and my 3 or 4 days a week lunch with my wife. I'm not giving that up to build some mediocre company. I want to build something amazing. I want to build something that will last for generations. I want to build something that is so successful and helps so many people that when I look back at the end of my life, I can be proud in my very core to have been part of this company. So that's where we started with that kind of a vision, something that will help as many people as we possibly can and where we will feel like our life has been a success because we were part of it. So when you start with that foundation, the next thing you have to do is you have to make sure that people throughout your company feel the same way. If you're going to build a really long-term company, a multi-generational company, which is our goal, that company has to be able to operate no matter what happens to me or what happens to John, which means that everybody in the company all down the line has to feel like we do and have the same goals and the same values and the same vision that we do. So the next step that we had to do was create this set of our core values. I'm not sure if you've shared them before on these calls, but you should. If you haven't gone through all of our core values, you'll need to do that. They're values that are important to us on the corporate side of the company, as well as values that we would like to see our brand partners focused on as well. True partnership. Yeah, real products, real results. Customers come first. Dream big, act now, I love. Excellence in every act. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I feel like I said, I didn't come out of retirement to have a mediocre company. I want a company that is excellent in every way. That is our goal and built to last. These are our core values, core principles. And when we hire people, we will interview lots of people until we find the one for the position who shares the same core values, the same core beliefs, and wants the same things that we do. That's how you build a foundation of a really long-term company. And then after we had that set of core values, and we were talking about a lot in all of our all hands employee meetings, we were talking about that in our executive meetings. Then it came time to make sure that we had the very best team to implement those values and that vision. And we started hiring and recruiting. And there's the team. We would go out and hire. I mean, you can't believe how many an interview. You can't believe how many people we've interviewed for every one of these positions, because it's hard to find somebody that shares your vision and your values, the same ethics, and that really wants to do something amazing with their lives. And we have done it in every single circumstance. We've hired some people who were in our industry, some people who were outside of our industry. We would go wherever we could find the very best people to take this company forward and help build the foundation for this long-term company. Even now on with our executive meetings, we meet every week. We talk about our 1-year plan, our 2-year plan, our 5-year plan. But not only do we have short-term plans, we are always working on our 50-year plan. That's how we think about it. We're working on our 50-year plan. And the decisions that we make now will have impact on what our company's like in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So the decisions we make now are important. It's also important the leaders that we have, the people that we work with now, all of you, because you are the ones who are the foundation of what our company will be for the future. And I see the kind of people that are coming to PartnerCo, and I'm always so impressed with the people who are joining with us and partnering with us, because they are people that I would want, that I do want to be here working side by side as we build this company. So that's really, and we continue to work on our 50-year plan, and we continue to work on building out our team. We have a very core executive leadership that we've recruited very heavily to find. We are always constantly working on improving in all areas, and in our hiring, all areas of the company. The name of our company, we're the Partner Company. It's kind of a strange name if you can't talk about and explain it. Where does this come from? What the heck is the Partner Company, right? I'm sure some of you, when you first heard it, said that. What the heck? Where it comes from, when I was in graduate school, I took a class at the law school that was a business law class. And I learned that under US law, at least, the most sacred relationship that exists is that of partners. The responsibilities that you owe to a partner are actually more than they are even to a spouse. And they preach this to us, the sacred nature of partnerships. And I have, throughout my whole career, when I've had business partners, I have treated that relationship as sacred. And we have always, with my partners, grown together, built together. My business partners have become my best friends. And that's what I wanted, and that's what John wanted for our company. We wanted to have this sacred relationship with all of our partners where we work together, all having similar goals, similar vision, where we have similar values, and we can work together to build something where we all will be so proud we were part of that. So that's where PartnerCo came from. And I love it. When we first came up with the PartnerCo name, as we were batting around what our values were, and I mean, it was the perfect name because it embodies who we are. I view every single one of you, every one, I'm looking at you right now, every single one of you are my partner. We have different jobs, we have different roles, but we're the same. You know, our responsibilities are different, but I can't run my company without you. You can't do what you do without me. It requires our partnership, working together to grow and lift and build each other and build this company together.
So beautiful. And I see the tagline in the chat, we are better together. It's in our logo itself, and it's in writing. That's the biggest thing though, Darren. This is not just words, because anyone can say anything from the stage. But we have, like you saw in the compensation plan, it's a 50-50 split. We're literally partners in the company. We have a bill of rights, so you actually protect us as partners from anything weird that can happen. So these are huge things to have, which is why there's so much security here. And Darren, so it's been, who here can listen to Darren all day, by the way? Like, put a me in the comments. So we're going to try to keep him as long as possible, that Chris won't let us. But a lot, you've done a lot. By the way, today, I'm not as intense as you. The first time I met Darren, one thing I noticed about him, he always carries a 5-subject spiral notebook with him. And
well, can you see
oh my
it?
gosh.
There it is.
Yeah, I can see it. There it is. How many notebooks have you gone through now?
I'm on number 8. I write a number in them. This is number 8. But this is the big one. It's 5 subjects. I don't know. It's like really heavy. But this is my 8th one. Since we took over the company.
I have a small one, so I need to get a bigger one to make more money, it seems. So, but you're diligent. You've done a lot of things in a year and a half. So looking back, what would you say are maybe the top 1, 2 couple things that we've done that you're proud about, that you think are really important for us to know?
So it's very hard to pick out any particular thing. I'll say this: the thing that I am most proud of that we've done so far is that I feel like this idea of true partnership, almost everybody, probably everybody at the company feels that, because we listen. When there are things that you need, we respond. I mean, I know James. I've been in meetings with James and Becky, and they're like, "Hey, you know, do you think you could work on this little part of the IT system? It's kind of difficult." And you know, I write it down in my big notebook here, and it goes on the to-do list, and then we do it. We've changed IT systems. We've been able to improve our website. We've improved how we enroll new customers and new brand partners. All of these things that we do are things that are asked for by you, that you need to build your businesses. That's what we need to do to be a good partner, is we need to be there to support you and give you the tools that you require to go out and get customers and get partners and help people change their lives. So it's setting that stage for that. I mean, there's so many things. I don't know if you remember, even last year, we were not even a year in at the PXP in Orlando, and I took 5 or 6 minutes reading off all the things that we'd done. I wrote down a complete list, and it was 12 pages. They told me that I couldn't say all 12 pages. So I had to like kind of pick out some highlights. I read 3 or 4 pages of things that we'd done. We've done so much in such a short period of time, but we'll continue. You know, we're not going to stop until we're perfect. We're aiming for perfection. So I mean, you've probably seen, James, you've seen areas of improvement, right? You've seen how we respond when you have issues or things that you need.
1000%. it's like I went from a good relationship to the most beautiful, perfect relationship ever, where you listen to us and there's that trust. And I think that's the most important foundation piece, because from then anything can actually be built. I'm the most proud personally, as a partner, as a networker, to actually do what we need to do, which is transform lives, help people with their amazing products, help people be able to build their dreams, just like the fishermen. So I guess as we start to close this out, Darren, done a lot, year and a half. It's felt like 10 years. I'm sure for you, it felt like a lifetime. Amazing things, companies blowing up records. What's next? What are you excited about?
I have to say, the growth here in North America, I know we have people from all over the world, but is this a lot of North America
Mostly North
here?
America. Some
Yeah, okay.
some Australians and others, yeah.
Hey, Australia is growing too, but in North America is slightly ahead of the curve. With kind of the system of growth you guys are working on. But I mean, we are growing like crazy. So what I look forward to is continuing to support that growth with additional tools. We're working right now on our 5-year product development plan. So there'll be additional complementary products that will come down the pipeline. But supporting this kind of growth, it is exciting. It is fun. It is tremendous work. We went from even just on the body balancing drops, we're up, I think it's right now around 12, no, sorry, around 1,600% in 1 year sales. Okay. So it's not easy to manage that kind of growth in one product. Previously, we were doing our forecasts once a quarter. How much do we need to produce? We're forecasting. We now forecast weekly. Every week,
Wow.
we have to do a new forecast to keep up with what you all are doing. But it's exciting. It's fun. I love every minute of it. When I meet with all of you, it gives me the energy that I need to do what I need to do running the company and make sure that we are supporting you in every way that we can.
You're absolutely doing that. Darren, we're 2 months away from the big celebration, PXP Orlando, September 20th to 22nd.
Yeah, who's coming? Put a 1 in the chat there if you're coming. Who's coming? I mean, I'm coming.
Yeah.
In fact, they may have me speak even. They may have me speak.
What should we expect? What should we expect?
I think we've even got some people from Australia coming, I see here.
We do.
That's cool.
What should we expect from this? And if it is sold out around the world, but if you seriously want a ticket, homework, ask the person that brought you onto this call if we can find one. We'll find it on the black market somehow. I shouldn't tell Darren that, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way.
I actually heard that there were some black market tickets out there. Let's just hope nobody's marking them up. I mean, you're going to get to hear from executives. We're going to talk about the progress over the last year. We're going to talk about what's happening over the next year, the future. You're going to hear stories from other of our partners who are having tremendous success, and they're going to share some of their secrets to success. You're going to be seeing, I mean, I'm not sure if I can talk about some of the things. I'm privy to things that I think I can't talk about. And
you're the owner.
I want to, but I think I can't talk about it. There's going to be a few things that you will be super excited about that I can't talk about. So I promise you, it'll be worthwhile to come. You will love it, and you will love what you see. You'll love what you learn, and you'll love what we are launching at PXP.
Guys, that event could be your Darren moment in Barcelona. One event can change your life. So you're at the edge of your seats. Drop a 100 in the comments. You're feeling the warm and fuzzies. You're like, wow, this is something special. That gets you the base, but the event gives you the ignition to that. And then after that, I mean, if we could have the growth that you had, Darren, since the last event to here, from Barcelona to here, all of our lives would be so different. So, Darren, we're at this.
I mean, James, think about this though. Let's just talk about the PXPs, right? Last year we had 2 PXPs. Okay, we had about, I think, 1,700 people between the 2 PXPs. There was an airline strike in Europe that caused some of our brand partners to come. So it would have been more had it not been for the airline strike, but still about 1,700. This year we have 4 PXPs, and I think right now we're at a little over 8,000 people between the 4 of them. Every single one of our PXP events sold out. Every single one sold out. And we had to go find larger venues. And then we offered more tickets, and every one of those sold out. So these are all new venues with increased capacity and all sold out. In fact, one of them sold out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. I was so proud of our IT team that the system didn't break because it literally sold out in 5 minutes. We more than doubled the capacity by finding a new venue, put those tickets up, and those sold out in about 5 minutes also. So we are excited about the future of the company. I know all of our partners, customers, everybody's excited about what's happening. And the event will just be more of a peek into where we're headed. And it'll be super exciting. I'm so glad so many of you will be able to come.
Darren, we are pumped. We are right at the brink of momentum. That's not even momentum. That's almost 5 times growth from year to year. So imagine even next year, it's 5 times growth as well too. We're talking about stadiums now, but this is the time, the next couple of months, this is what I'm thinking. If you're brand new, partner with us. Get back with the person that connected you here, and let's run together and partner with an incredible leadership like Darren. So Darren, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your example. You're unwavering. You're the same when I met you in the hallway as you are right now, and you're consistent. And that it gives me a lot of hope and security. Last words to you, Darren.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight. All of you here trying to improve your lives, improve your health, help those around you. You inspire me. You're great examples to me. So thank you for all your hard work and everything you do. And I look forward to seeing so many of you at PXP. And if you can't make it to PXP this year, hopefully I'll see you at one of the other events. And just thank you for being such great partners.
Thank you, Darren.